Never think she was wrong. There was a mistake and it was also Chu Feng who didn't make it clear. Alright, hurry up. Seeing this, Chu Feng did not dwell too much on this issue with the other party. It's not worth it. He was afraid that if he continued to dwell on it, he wouldn't be able to handle the pressure. It fell straight to the ground and collapsed the floor. Ha! Tang Shishir also knew that something was wrong at that moment, and immediately probed her spiritual energy into Chu Feng's body. Look no further. She had surprisingly discovered that Chu Feng's body was frighteningly tight. Moreover, the power was even beyond the limit of human beings, reaching more than 10 times of human beings. If it was against strength, it definitely reached the 5th level of the mortal realm. It was the discovery of this that surprised her so much. Moreover, in her observation, there were strands of divine energy surging into Chu Feng's body from the endless void, slowly changing his physique. It made his strength increase rapidly. Chu Feng, what did you eat? Or what has been done to make such a drastic change in strength? Surprised, Tang Shishir inquired Chu Feng. One must know that before, Chu Feng had no strength at all. But now, let's get me out into the open first. I don't feel like holding up. Chu Feng did not reply to her words, but instead let out a pained wail. Come. You know he had been waiting in that position for over an hour. Don't dare move. Don't dare let go. Who's afraid something will happen? Almost forgot about this load. Only after hearing Chu Feng's words did Tang Shishir realize this. At that moment, he put his hand on Chu Feng's arm, and then, with a movement of divine thoughts, the entire person was hourly in the same place. Once again, it was on top of one of the highest mountains outside the city. Hoo-hoo, comfortable. Once he came over here, Chu Feng immediately liberated himself. The whole group stood up and moved their muscles quickly. The entire mountain. Under Chu Feng's activities, all sorts of large pits came to appear directly, after relaxing for more than 10 minutes, and after the entire person was soothed. Chu Feng then turned back and said, "Give me a shirt or else." Chu Feng looked at his body, his face showing shyness. A big man himself was moving around in front of a female, wearing only a pair of boxers, for most of the day. It's amazing that this woman keeps looking. Chu Feng felt that even if the other party was not embarrassed, he was embarrassed. After locking eyes with Tang Shishir for a while, he finally lost the battle and asked the other party for clothes. "If I gave it to you, you wouldn't be able to wear it." Tang Shishir smiled and looked at Chu Feng with a teasing expression on her face. Once Chu Feng thought about what he was doing right now, he knew at that moment that this was true. The uncontrollable helplessness of defeat. What's going on? As a last resort, Chu Feng could only seek help from Tang Shishir. He hasn't figured out what's happening to him yet. This weird power of his own. If he doesn't fix it, he's afraid to come back to the city to live. After all, with his performance just now, it really was that whoever he touched would either be crippled or die. Such a performance was not what Chu Feng wanted. I don't understand this either, because I can't trace the root. I only know that this thing comes from the void and helps strengthen your body, along with soul power. While Chu Feng was happily relaxing, it wasn't as if Tang Shishir, who was at the side, did nothing. Instead, he examined Chu Feng's situation more carefully. Only then did he realize that Chu Feng had gained a great enhancement in his soul in addition to his physical strength enhancement. So what's the solution? Hearing those words, Chu Feng also had no more thoughts of pursuing the matter. All he wanted now was to be in control of his current strength. After all, even Tang Shishir couldn't find the root cause. Then it would be in vain for him to continue his search. Instead of spending time on this useless work, it would be better to understand the current situation and control it completely before saying anything. This is simple. Just practice these feats. Hearing Chu Feng's words, Tang Shishir said with a relaxed expression, "This is what happens when your strength suddenly increases too quickly and your control is too weak. As long as you practice these techniques and integrate them, you can be just like me, and your strength will be under your control." When Chu Feng heard those words, his face could not help but be slightly stunned. He couldn't imagine that he could still cultivate the immortal and demon continence techniques in reality. You know, when Tang Shishir came to this world, he also had this unrealistic idea. However, corresponding to this general environment of spiritual energy scarcity, it was just a thought. It's just a figment of imagination in your head. After all, how could one possibly be able to cultivate without even having spiritual energy? However, it was different now. According to what Tang Shishir, the Empress, had said, there was energy continuously converging on his body in the void. Improve his strength. He only needed to cultivate his feats and take control. Is there such a good thing in this world? There really is. At that moment, Chu Feng sat down and began to cultivate. This guy, he's weird as hell. And I wonder what's wrong with the world. Tang Shishir, who was on the side, looked at Chu Feng with interest. Some inexplicable idea was spinning in his head. In the end, she still drove those thoughts out of her mind and stayed where she was, watching Chu Feng cultivate. After a short while, she seemed to be a bit bored, and after directly placing a formation around Chu Feng, she turned around and left. End of chapter. Chapter 101 Preparations. Chapter 101 Preparations. Chu Feng, who was engrossed in cultivation, did not know about this. After all, the most important thing for him now was to get his own strength under control. Only then will he not vomit in this mundane society. Without realizing it, more than 3 hours had passed. At that moment, Chu Feng had already put his entire body's strength under complete control. Boo! Chu Feng violently threw a punch in front of him, and the air exploded under the violent wind of the punch. It made an audible popping sound. That's not bad at all. As Chu Feng watched this scene, a trace of a smile appeared on his face. Ha! Where is everyone? After testing his strength, Chu Feng turned around and discovered that Tang Shishir was unexpectedly not here anymore. Tang Shishir, where are you? As a last resort, Chu Feng was only able to take out his cell phone and call. You're the one who hit it. Otherwise I would have run under your car so much. Humph. I told you it wasn't me. It was clearly you who rushed over and lay directly on the ground. Do you have proof of any of this? If you don't have it, you'll pay for it quickly. Chu Feng had just called, when he heard noisy voices coming from over there. There was a lot of bickering and a clear dispute. Chu Feng, I'm in the city. I'll be right over to pick you up and bring you over. At that moment, Tang Shishir seemed to walk away and came to the distance to talk to Chu Feng. Okay, Chu Feng responded. It would be best if someone came down there on their own. Realize that he's in the middle of the tallest mountain outside the city. And it's not even normal to come up here. It's a total bird's eye view. It can be a little popular. And there are roads. He didn't know how long it would take him to climb down with his bare hands. Come on. I'll take you over to an interesting scene. Not long after, Tang Shishir came to Chu Feng's side. Her face was a little mysterious, and she spoke in a mysterious manner. That look of total fun encounter. Alright, I'll see what are the things that actually make our demon emperor lord so interested. Tang Shishir was so interested, so of course it was impossible for Chu Feng to refuse. However, at that moment, Chu Feng, through the phone call just now, already roughly knew what she was talking about. However, although he had heard of such a thing, he had never actually seen it. Now that he had Tang Shishir with him, he definitely had to go over and take a look before he could do so. Look, there it is, isn't it nice? Not long after, under Tang Shishir's rapid weaving, Chu Feng arrived in a remote intersection in the blink of an eye. The place was filled with a multitude of people who formed a circle with inexplicable looks in their eyes. Although Chu Feng knew the situation over here, he still revealed a puzzled expression, satisfying Tang's desire to speak. To perform. Here it is. It's a burly man slamming into a car and the guy going so far as to go straight for the owner of that car, and make him pay for it. You know, the man rushed up on his own, and the owner of that car had no problems at all. But the owner just couldn't do anything at all, and got tangled up with the other guy. Isn't this thing fun? Tang Shishir roughly said, what happened over here? A teasing look on her face. Of course, but it can't be helped. First of all, this guy probably doesn't have a camera to preserve evidence. And then there's the fact that the other guy knows there are no cameras in the neighborhood. That's why it's doing what it's doing. So that the owner of this car can't do anything about it. Chu Feng faintly explained after Tang Shishir. It doesn't happen much, but it happens a lot. He knew all about the tricks the other side used. If these people can't handle it, why don't they just kill each other? With the idea that Tang Shishir had always cultivated was that if she looked at anyone unpleasantly, wouldn't it be better to just kill them? This can't be handled so simply and roughly. If we just kill it, there are so many people here, so much management. After all, it's all about evidence here. As a last resort, Chu Feng could only popularize the situation over here to Tang Shishir. Okay, so we're just going to watch that car owner suffer, and there's nothing we can do about it? Tang Shishir cocked her head at the owner's embarrassed look and inquired. Sure, we can go up and help each other out, Chu Feng said with a faint smile. With your strength here, you should be able to bring out the scene from before. Well, that's fine. What are you going to do? Tang Shishir replied suspiciously. Just put it on the line, and you'll be satisfied with what's behind it, Chu Feng said in a mysterious manner. This performance caused the desire to explore to come up immediately in Tang Shishir's heart. He also no longer talked nonsense with Chu Feng, and directly waved his hand to show the scene from before. Chu Feng also immediately took his cell phone out, and then opened the screen recording software. Straight away the above is shown. As Chu Feng watched, the owner of the car was seen coming to this intersection and then driving slowly, with extreme caution. He glanced a few times to either side of the exit. After seeing no one, the other's chest slowly descended open. A novice at first glance. However, After he breathed a sigh of relief, in a dead center in the evening, a figure rushed out, straight into the corner of the other car. He fell to the ground on the spot and wailed loudly, a gush of sound that instantly attracted a piece of the neighborhood over, fenced the side off straight away, not letting the owner go. These guys still seem extremely enthusiastic, but that's just it. It's too easy to be taken advantage of. Tang Shishir looked at the scene and lamented. Okay. Chu Feng saw that not much was left out. Then he shouted to stop. So that's it? Tang Shishir looked at the compact thing curiously. Of course, this is proof. Chu Feng smiled and did not say anything. Directly taking Tang Shishir, who had a disbelieving gaze in her eyes, she squeezed through the crowd and ran inside. You guys judge me? This guy hit me and now he doesn't want to do anything. He just wants to run away. Do you think someone like that should be punished? These people are arrogant when they have a money. They don't take human life seriously, and they want to run away when they hit me? Do you guys think that's possible? As soon as Chu Feng came in, he heard the person who had been hit directly fall to the ground, crying loudly, gaining sympathy from the neighborhood. The owner of the car, on one side, stood hand and foot, with his mouth open. He didn't know what to say for a moment. Okay, everyone listen to me, don't say anything. When the officials come, everything will be clear, Chu Feng said loudly, silencing the surrounding voices. The moment those words came out, the crowd's voices abruptly quieted, and they all looked at Chu Feng, wanted to see what the other side had to deal with. Little brother, you don't see this car owner vulnerable and you sympathize with him. Who knows if he's deliberately trying to gain sympathy? Seeing that Chu Feng seemed to be taking the side of the car owner, a strong man violently ran out and pulled Chu Feng and said, "That's for when the official comes." Chu Feng smiled faintly, and an inexplicable look came to flash in his eyes. It's a bit obvious what the opponent's purpose is with this look. Chu Feng also remembered at this time, like in this case, it seems to be a gang. You say, want a private settlement, or a public settlement. Anyway, we stand to reason, and there are so many people in the neighborhood doing evidence. Seeing that he could not take advantage of Chu Feng here, he pressured the owner right then and there. The owner of the car, a slightly blonde middle-aged man, was sweating profusely at the moment and didn't know how to reply for a while. He knows that even if it is public, but there is no evidence, the tug-of-war do not know how long to get it. That could have drained his energy considerably. Mind you, he's just an average lower-middle management. Being subjected to something like this would definitely make him take a vacation. If you ask for a vacation, your supervisor may not even approve it, might just tell him to off. That could cost you your job. If you go private, it's only a few $1,000s. It's something he can afford to lose. Should we go to the hospital? That's the same thing as saying it's going to be private. Okay. At that moment, the bumper stickers, too, agreed. Just because they're begging for money doesn't mean they're stupid. Silly to go on the official. However, at this point it's not up to them, because someone had already reported it to the officials, and the officials came. You have the balls to report to the police. Looking at the officials who quickly surrounded them and fell to the ground to feign their injuries, several of the surrounding people's faces turned ugly. You know, when the official comes, that means they're going to have to spend more time dealing with this side of things. Come as you are. Instead, it was the owner of the car, who was relieved to see the visitor. The whole thing relaxed. What's going on over here? The official officer came up and inquired. Vehicle owner hits man. Still wants. The whole thing is here. You'll understand if you take a closer look. Chu Feng did not wait for him to finish, and directly opened the video that he had just recorded. This is fake. Absolutely impossible. Look at the content of the scene displayed above. The man pretending to be injured had shock in his eyes. Panicked. You're in trouble. Come back with me. Officials take a look at the other side's performance. It was clear in the moment how things were going to be. Immediately, he drank coldly, and, as soon as he stepped forward, he cuffed him directly. This passed over to you. Looking at the cuffed person, Chu Feng directly sent the video to the owner's cell phone, and then he left with Tang Shishir in style. That's it? Tang Shishir, who had been following Chu Feng, watched Chu Feng's movements. Somewhat skeptically, he inquired, "Of course, I have sent all the contents of their gang's work. These people want to come out and continue the chaos. At least it's not that simple anymore. You know, this is about fraud, and gangs. Well, let's find a place to eat then." Tang Shishir looked at this side of the matter resolved, and at that moment, she was going to go eat to go. She didn't really want to eat it either. She just wanted to spend a little more time with Chu Feng. Okay, Chu Feng agreed with a smile. How could Chu Feng, who had gained great benefits, not oblige his important helper? In this way, the two played like this for a whole day, and only went home in the evening. By the way, I've got something going on over there these days, so I probably won't be able to help you much. When the time comes, if there's anything, you just look for Chower. Returning home, Tang Shishir immediately began to go online. However, before that, she still thoughtfully told Chu Feng something.